welcome back to the vlog. Now, this time I'm going to show you something that might be a surprise. Because if you know how most of Europe works on cars, you have to go through a PKK, which is a periodic vehicle control to keep your car on the road. For older cars, they are 2 years apart. Now, the Granada was parked in 1997, the year it was supposed to have one of its controls. In 1996, it had been stopped by the road authorities, pretty much, and they had called it in for a full technical control. And if you don't go through that, you lose your license plates. It gets parked. And it didn't show up, and it was just parked a year later. Now, I fixed it. I fixed everything, put it through one of those PKKs, and it went through on the second attempt, because I had to replace all ball joints and the rear bearings, which I did last weekend, right after the Escort got its clutch replacement. And I took it to the shop on Monday to have it inspected for its post control, or the control where you have to show that you fixed it. Which I did. It was all fine. I drove up to the gas station, stopped there, called the insurance company, and they gave me 10% more of a bonus, and the cheapest insurance I've had so far, actually. And I jumped in the car, drove back up to the DMV, said, yep, I'd like to register that car with that license plate, and they went, yeah, fine. But that car needs to come in for a full technical control. Why? It's just been approved. Yeah, but this thing was supposed to come in 1996 and it never did. You have to show it. Alright, when do you have an appointment ready? You can have it in an hour. Fine, I'll take that. Took it in, and they are a lot more picky than a lot of other, well, the regular shops are. Because you can go here, and as you can see, it does have its license plates. These holes are from side marker turn signals. I have to have those. I don't like them, but I have to. And if you go on the inside, the steering wheel, that is not an original wheel. They don't like that. And if you're American, this sounds very odd, but yes, a non-original steering wheel, that's a no-no. So I have to replace that. I have to put turn signals on the side. The high beam stock there. It works on the light flasher, but not on the high beam, apparently. And it worked the first time I showed it, but apparently there's some bad connections back there. Also, since this thing has been parked since 1997, and I've just been starting using it, and you know, the ball joints all kick the bucket on the way over, the rear bearings kick the bucket on the way over, so has the shock absorber on this side, and a tie rod end on that side. Well, just rubber cracked, but I'll have to replace it anyway. So I have to do both rear shocks and the tie rod ends on the front. I think that was the things I got when I was up there. Because the way the control you get after the first one works is they can only look at the things they wrote up on the first shot. Because if they missed something, then they can't give you a fault for it on the next go. The next time they can do it is if you show it again for regular control, or in 2 years when the next control is. So I have to do that, and they didn't say anything about anything else. And also, while I was there, I asked them, what will I have to do to get this thing registered with 302? And he went, well, first thing you do is you go to the place where you got it. Well, not place where you got it. Ford. You go to Ford, and you ask them for paperwork showing that you can put that motor in this car. And since this Granada, well, not this year Granada, but the Granada were delivered with a 302 and a 4-speed in Africa, that should be no problem. I know several people who have actually gotten it approved in this country, so it should be possible. And then I have to send them I have to ask them to do it and then start doing afterwards. Also asked them about the Escort. Now the Forest Rec Escort, I had been thinking of just putting it together with the 2-liter and yanking the 2-liter out, showing just the chassis so they get the numbers back into their system, because it's been off the books for so long that there's no record of it other than in an old paper trail from when it was registered back in 1968. That's the only thing they have on that car. And to do that, to register that car back up, I have to rebuild it to as close to factory spec as I can. That means with the old Kent 4-banger and, well, stock everything. Which means I have to first get a hold of stock everything and then get a hold of the RS2000 parts to put it back together, which means I have to yank the 2-liter back out of it to register it, and then give them, ask them to swap it over to an RS2000 and then do that and then show it to them again. So it's going to be a lot more work than I thought, but I'm thinking, screw it, I'll just put the 2-liter in, run it for a little bit to get everything working, figure out what's going to break, get everything replaced, push the 1100 back in it, get it shown, and do all that. That's what's going to happen to the to the 4-stroke Escort. It's going to be a lot more work than I thought. And I guess that if you're in America, this is all going to sound so off the walls for you that you wouldn't even understand what the hell I'm talking about. But yeah, that's how it works. It's too much to deal with, some of it. But anyway, that is pretty much what's going to go now. So I'll be back later, and yeah, I'll see you later. Like, comment, and subscribe.